My friends, welcome back. It is September 28th, 2022, 9:38 a.m. And it is pretty official. Today is the day that Hurricane Ian, major Hurricane Ian, will be making landfall basically in Englewood, Florida. That is near Northport. We are talking Cape Coral, even far north as Sarasota. Not only that, but about 11 a.m. we are going to find out if Ian reached that Category 5 wind speed, which would make it only the 5th Category 5 landfall in U.S. history. Overnight last night, Hurricane Ian rapidly intensified back into a Category 4 after what they call an eyewall replacement cycle that usually slows these storms down and actually weakens them as the actual eyewall of the storm replaces itself. But what took place has got people absolutely baffled. This storm not only got bigger, but it jumped up about 24 miles per hour, going from 130 miles an hour to now a 155 mile per hour storm. That is just 2 miles per hour away from being a Category 5. Chances are by the 11 o'clock advisory, we will be looking at a Category 5 hurricane. Take a look at these stats right here. As of right now, 135 knots or 155 miles per hour. That is 937 millibars. We went through a phase called bombogenesis. We've talked about that here on the channel many times. That is when a low pressure system drops 24 millibars within a 24-hour period, except with Hurricane Ian, this happened in a 2-hour period, and in fact, it was 25 millibars. That is simply something you do not see hurricanes do often. It is a very rare thing to see a storm strengthen that quickly, that fast, and actually get bigger as a whole. As of right now, the eye wall itself is about 17.5 to 18 miles wide, and that is why you're seeing so many of these counties in Florida in the purple, which are hurricane warnings. Anything from Fort Meyers North to Tampa are in areas that could receive severe damage just from the wind alone. Now, as far as storm surge, it is being estimated that places like Englewood and Cape Coral could reach as much as 18 feet of storm surge. Many people don't realize that is almost beyond comprehension. Imagine 18 feet of water above your head, and that is exactly what these coastlines may look like. And this will be a constant flow of water itself. It's not like it's going to be one wave. It's going to be a constant push from the southeast quadrant of the hurricane being pushed into everything it moves into. That is why you're seeing so many different areas under that hurricane warning. You can see Cape Coral here, which may get the brunt of this flow of water. The counterclockwise spin will push the water into the canals, the rivers, and all these bays of Cape Coral, which are already saturated from previous storms. That is one of the biggest threats right now, is the storm surge and the flooding. Taking a look at the sheer size of this storm, you can see Bonita Springs basically on that far southeastern quadrant all the way up to St. Petersburg, almost Tampa. So again, this storm not only strengthened as far as wind speed, but it actually got bigger as a whole. Very quickly, just to show you what I'm talking about, there was a tweet put out by Mike Ventris, a meteorologist. There has been only 4 Category 5 intensity major hurricanes to have struck the U.S. in our historical archives. That is the Labor Day hurricane of 1935, Hurricane Camille in 1969, Hurricane Andrew in 1992, and then Hurricane Michael in 2018, which was later upgraded after the season was over to a Category 5 after the data was analyzed a little deeper. At first, they had Michael at a Category 4, but then upgraded to a Cat 5. So not only could Hurricane Ian be historical as being a Category 4 at landfall, but it could be just our 5th Category 5 landfall ever. That is an absolutely incredible stat. Now, there is still a slight possibility as the eye wall approaches those areas of Cape Coral and Englewood, and some of the models show this, but the eye wall of Ian may ride up the coastline of Florida before making that landfall in the projected Englewood area, putting areas like Sarasota or even a little bit north of that in the crosshairs of the actual landfall. That's why these hurricanes are so incredible. It could look as if these things are going to be directly hitting a certain area and then at the last possible second shift just a tiny bit, which could make drastic differences within just an hour, 2 hours, even sooner than that, causing a lot of confusion to people who are being told that certain areas are going to be directly hit. Another big change with Ian was the time frame. If you guys remember from yesterday's video, there was a possibility that we might not see landfall until early Thursday morning, but that changed overnight last night during that rapid intensification phase where Ian went from 130 miles an hour to a 155 mile per hour storm in a 2-hour period. That has now shifted the time frame, putting a major hurricane landfall happening this afternoon within the next couple hours. If Ian stays in that northeastern direction, we'd be looking at landfall between 11 a.m. and about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Even though Hurricane Ian is so close to the coastline, you could still see some of the spaghetti plots spreading out just before landfall, and that is making a drastic difference on where exactly this eye wall will touch first. That is the official landfall once the eye wall is halfway over land, where wherever that area is considered the landfall destination of the storm. If you take a look at this chart a little closer, you can see in the last frame, it almost looks like the eye wall opens up in the middle. What that means is that the eye wall replacement cycle has been completed, and the more of the inside of that eye wall you can see, it's almost as if it's a big giant tornado. If you could see through it, that means the outer wind bands of the storm are going to be devastating to the coastlines. On some of the mainstream media channels I've been watching, they are still saying there's a little bit of time to get on the road and get out of these areas, but for the most part, because of the new time frame of the storm and the fact that it's moving quickly, they're actually telling people to just stay home and do what they can to protect life and property. That is a very scary term when it comes to these storms. So just to recap a little bit of this information, anything from Fort Myers, basically north to Tampa, because this storm is still off the coast a bit, any of those areas are still possible for a landfall, but most, if not all the models, are projecting that Cape Coral or Englewood area for the official landfall of a possible Category 5 Hurricane Ian. My friends, it is no joke that this could be one of the most historical storms to ever strike the United States, and regardless of whether or not this hits as a high-grade Category 4 or hits that Category 5 status, this storm and this name Ian will more than likely be retired and absolutely talked about for years to come. This will break records all over the place, and that is solely based on the fact that this bombogenesis situation, the drop in the millibars, the rapid intensification, the eye wall replacement cycle, all of these things taking place in such a short period of time has seriously got meteorologists baffled. That's all I keep hearing all over the place, is that they've never seen a storm rapidly intensify in such a short period of time. My friends, it's going to be a long day for a lot of people. I will be bringing you updates more than likely through the community section post. I do have to travel today, but I will be posting updates throughout the day as Hurricane Ian makes landfall and discussing where exactly that is going to take place. Please keep an eye on that 11 o'clock advisory. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. I will have updates later on. A big shout out to Florida today and Canada as well. Florida could be looking at one of the worst storms to ever hit the state. Not only that, but one of the worst storms to ever strike the U.S. as a whole. All right, my friends, I will be back soon. I will talk to you then. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.